People pop up in the chat or on that?
They do, but I don't know what to say. Yeah, they gotta get somebody else to do that.
High school reunions are like. You go to yours? I had one teammate, he had like wide jaws. He had no chin. Gotta start swinging. I didn't get over the microphone until I sit down. That's when you get over the microphone until I sit down.
Point the camera to the color guard, turn it on.
Ladies and gentlemen, please find and take your seats. This ceremony will begin in 2 minutes. Please find and take your seats. I would ask that you silence all electronic devices. Find and take your seats. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony will begin in 2 minutes. Please find and take your seats. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Marine Corps Association and Foundation Round Awards Dinner. I'm retired Sergeant Major Kevin Bennett, the Director for Professional Development and the Area Rep for the Quantico and the National Capital Region. Tonight, we will recognize the best of the best from the ground community. Tonight's dinner is co-hosted by our Deputy Commandant for Planning, Policy, and Operations, Lieutenant General George Flynn. As you were, George Smith, I'm sorry. Wrong guy. It's been a while since I've done this, sir. I'm out of practice. And I'll mountain my myself later. Sir, we thank you very much for your continued support of our mission of advancing leadership and recognizing excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, our musical and color guard support tonight come from the oldest barracks in the Marine Corps, Marine Barracks, Washington, D.C. at 8th and I. Under the direction of Master Sergeant Darren Bank, it is our pleasure to have with us tonight the President's own United States Marine Band Brass Quintet. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of the colors. Our national anthem, that remains standing for your anchor's way and reigns him.
Word.
Ready, go. Ready, then.
guard before he was unique. They are the official color guard of the Marine Corps. Our national flag is carried by the 39th Color Sergeant of the Marine Corps, Staff Sergeant Franklin D. Taft of Mustang, Oklahoma, while the Marine to his left carries the official battle colors of the Marine Corps. The 55 streamers and silver bands displayed with the battle color commemorate the military campaigns in which Marines have participated. They span the entire history of the nation, from the American Revolution to the present. It is the privilege of Marine Barracks, Washington, D.C. to be entrusted with custody of this battle color.
Oh, there. Ho! There, ready, flip. Colors, ready, cut. Port, trail. Hump. Color. Colors turn. March.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for the United States Marine Band. National Attack. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce the President and CEO of Marine Corps Association, Lieutenant General Mark Faulkner. Boss?
Okay, well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing? And this is nice, isn't it? And getting back to some level of normalcy. Sergeant Major Bennett, thank you very much for that introduction. Look, as far as I'm concerned, you can't clap enough for the Color Guard of the Marine Corps and the President. So another round of applause, please. So welcome to the annual Brown Awards dinner. This is the 18th year that the Marine Corps Association has partnered with Plans, Policies, and Operations to recognize the best Marines across the Corps in the ground occupational fields. And we're excited to be part of it tonight. Speaking of PP&O, again, I'll get your name right, George, I promise. But I'd like to thank Lieutenant General George Smith and his entire team from Plans, Policies, and Operations for your planning effort, George. So thank you very much. Well done, like always. We're very excited tonight to be joined by the 38th Commandant of the Marine Corps, General David Berger. Sir, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it, Commandant, for you supporting our effort. And the 19th Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, Sergeant Major Troy Black. So Sergeant Major, thank you for being here as well. Really appreciate it. Just a comment about, to kind of take you back probably 6 or 7 months ago, in the midst of the pandemic, when in fact we had one of our last events like this, and we were fortunate around September when we had our first annual meeting of the Marine Corps. The Commandant spoke at that breakfast and said, "Hey, look, we're not taking a knee." Is it impactful to us? Yes. Is it debilitating? No. And we didn't take a knee, and we're proud of that. and we're so very proud to continue to recognize Marines, Commandant, with yours and Sergeant Major's support. Last year, for example, even in the midst of the pandemic, even though we didn't have dinner events like this, we were still able to recognize everyone in the occupational fields and recognize all the Marines. And so we're very proud of that because the Marines continue to do terrific things. So for tonight, look, guidance is changing as we stand here, right? So here's our guidance is to be safe and do the right thing. If you're not immunized, you take proper precautions to protect you and protect everyone around you. We are adhering to the regulations of the Governor of Virginia and everything associated with that. And that's really the reason for the expeditionary nature of tonight's event. And kudos to Miss Leanne Mitchell for her efforts in pulling this together. It's kind of expeditionary classy, if you will. So we really appreciate it. Thank you. So here's the plan. For those of you who will be eating at the dining room inside, after I finish my comments and the chaplain comes up and provides the grace, we'll move you inside to eat, and then we'll bring you back out for the Deputy Commandant PPNO's comments and introduction of our Commandant. You know, as I mentioned tonight we're going to recognize 9 Marines in particular, and they're also joined by several of them have their family here. I'll leave that for the narrator. He'll give an appropriate recognition of those Marines and their families. You're all special guests tonight, but there are a couple groups in particular that I want to recognize and thank. You know, we're pretty excited tonight, and I can't name them all. We're never going to get to dinner, but at last count, we had 21 retired and active duty general officers and flag officers and senior executive service members. And so just that leadership being here and the recognition of these Marines and kind of getting back to what we do so well, I want to thank all of you for being here. And I know there was no mandatory tasking to be present. The fact is you did it because you know it's the right thing to do to recognize outstanding Marines. So I want to thank all the leadership that is here with us tonight. You know, we have a couple of our Marine Corps Association board members here with us tonight. We got Lieutenant General retired Rick Silmer, and we also have Sergeant Major Robin Fortner. Robin, where are you? Thank you both for being here and for what you continue to do for Marines. You continue to give back, albeit in a different outfit. So thank you for your leadership. You know, one of the reasons we're able to do this time and time again is our corporate sponsors. And so tonight, I'll talk, as I walk you through the program here in a minute, we have over 40 of our industry partners here with us. There's a lot more behind them. Frankly, we have over 160 of them that Leanne Mitchell works with day in, day out. But let me tell you something. Last year, in the midst of the pandemic, they did not lose faith with the Marine Corps Association. And they didn't lose faith with Marines. And they did that for a number of reasons. I get it, business. But I'll tell you what, they did it because they love the Marines and they love the Corps. So a round of applause, please, for our industry sponsors. Okay, if you'll indulge me here for a second, take a look at your program. I want to get you to take a peek at a couple things here. First off, right on the front, of course, you see one of our sponsors. Really, our Semper Fidelis sponsor is USAA. We have a couple reps here from USAA tonight. Sergeants Major, thank you both for being here. So open it up there. Obviously, you see the bio of our Commandant, the agenda, the menu, and then you see the first 4 of 9 bios of our award recipients. I would encourage you to take a read at that when you get an opportunity. You see the over 40 corporate sponsors at the various levels of support that are with us. In particular, I'd like to welcome a couple new ones. I'd like to welcome Dominion as our newest Premier Platinum sponsor, LMI as a new Premier Silver sponsor, and Viasat as a new Premier Emerald sponsor. And thank you all for for continuing to up your game in support of Marines, and we very much appreciate it. Okay, so as you open it up, take a look at that, at those upcoming events. I'm going to quickly walk through a couple of those with you. We're obviously here tonight, Logistics Awards, on the 22nd of July. Look, we're going to do it right here again. We'll probably be inside, or we're going to do it in this hotel, and then eventually we'll move our way back over to the Gateway Marriott. Isn't that right, Leanne? Well, Leanne's not sure if I'm right or not, but it doesn't matter. I said it, so it's, let's move on, Leanne, before you cancel it. Hey, for the Log Awards, we just heard today that our Assistant Commandant, General Gary Thomas, will be our guest speaker, so we're pretty excited about having the ACMAC here. 5 August Acquisition Awards, the other, Lieutenant General Smith, Eric Smith will be the guest speaker for that event, for the Acquisition Awards. And General Pasagian is here tonight, and he'll be the co-host with us for that event. 26 August, the Combat Development Awards. Look, that's relatively new. General Smith will co-host that with us, and Commandant, I think this may be news to you, sir, but we're going to have the N9 there for that. So understand that Vice Admiral Kilbay's swapping out, so we're going to get, I don't know if his incoming is confirmed yet, so the bottom line is whoever the N9 is then, he'll probably be here to speak. And we're pretty excited about that. And one of the reasons we're excited is just because of the amazing relationship between CDMI and the Navy's N9. It's never been better, and that's what I hear from all senior Marine Corps leadership. Ammo Tech Awards, that's going to be General Pasagian who's going to be the guest speaker for that. And then I'll stop at the Information Awards. We're working on now, the invite is out to the Commander of Cybercom, General Nakasone, and we hope that he'll join us and provide us some comments from his perspective on all things information. I lied, I am going to go to the next one. The next one is our second annual meeting. We're going to do that in Quantico, and we're going to do it on the front end of this year's Modern Day Marine. This year will be the last year we're at Quantico, and then we're going to move north to the Washington Convention Center in 22. The Commandant and his team have just made some decisions on the theme for that event, some of the schedule of events, what we're going to do, and no surprise, we're upping our game to better support the Commandant and the Marine Corps, and we're really excited about that. So more to follow on that. I'll stop there. Okay, just finish up there. You see the other 5 bios for tonight's award recipients. A couple other comments, and I'll wrap up and turn it over to Chaplain. I also want to thank Saab tonight for being tonight's sponsor and a platinum sponsor. And Saab, raise your hand from Saab. I didn't get to see you earlier. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I won't tell everyone how much you've given for tonight's dinner, but ladies and gentlemen, it's a good chunk of change. And thanks, Saab, for what you continue to do for Marines. Everybody get a chance to look at the May Gazette? May Gazette is our annual air-ground edition, and among other things, we're pretty excited that both DCPPNO and DC Aviation, Lieutenant General Not So Wise, have letters in here, and they're very good, accompanied by articles that cover the waterfront, from force design to talent management to wargaming. I could go on and on. The point is, if you haven't read it yet, I would encourage you to take a look at it. A lot of great information in there. And the Marine Corps' premier professional journal, the Marine Corps Gazette. Okay, so here's my final comment is, after the chaplain of the Marine Corps, Admiral Todd, provides a blessing, we're going to move some folks inside. We're going to have dinner. And after that Sergeant Major dinner, we'll probably give a 10-minute warning so folks can make a head call. And then we'll introduce General Smith to introduce the Commandant of the Marine Corps. Okay, everybody got that? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Appreciate your continued support of the Marine Corps Association and for Marines. Okay, with that, Admiral Todd, come up and say the blessing, please, sir. Thank you for being here, Chaplain.
Truly is a blessing to be back gathering, so I would invite you to join me in a word of prayer. Eternal Father, behold your humble servants endeavoring to serve you and our neighbor, needing your leadership and seeking your blessing. We commend to your protection those Marines and sailors who are standing the watch for our nation right now. Be with them that they may fulfill their calling honorably, and protect them from both the enemies that seek to destroy the body, but also the enemy that seeks to destroy the soul. Send your angels to watch over their families as they faithfully await their return, and bless them with a joyful reunion. Lord, we also remember those of our ranks who have made the ultimate sacrifice, and pray for your comfort on those who grieve. May we forever hold their memory in our hearts and live our lives honoring their legacy. For those honored tonight, we give you thanks for the blessing they are to our Corps, their talents, their commitment to our vocation, their servant leadership, our blessings that elevate our Corps and our nation. And we give you thanks, O Lord. And finally, we ask that you would be our honored guest this evening and join us in the laughter, the good food, the good drink, and the telling of sea stories as we celebrate the blessing of camaraderie in the United States Marine Corps. Amen.
Well said, Chaplain. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy your meal.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I ask you all to start taking your seats, please take your seats. The ceremony will begin in 2 minutes. Please take your seats. Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody enjoyed their meal and has had an opportunity to at least taste their dessert. If not, oh well. Do what you must do. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue on our ceremony this evening, and it's my pleasure to introduce, and I do know his name, the Deputy Commandant of Plan Policies and Operations, Lieutenant General George Smith.
Thanks, Sergeant Major. I think. If I was Flynn, I'd be standing on some phone books here. Hey, you're batting 500. That's still a Hall of Fame number, so. Let me add my personal welcome to all here this evening, General and Flag Officers, senior executives, our industry partners, and fellow Marines, and most importantly, our award recipients and members of their family who were able to join us here this evening. And I'd like to express my continued appreciation to Lieutenant General Faulkner and the entire Marine Corps Association and Foundation team. I mean, they have been fighting through COVID. We kind of laugh about it. We have for the last year plus, but this is yet another shining example of the MCAF team fighting through and just getting it done to recognize our Marines. So, sir, thank you very much. And a particular thanks again to our great teammate Leanne Mitchell. Just another phenomenal job. Your teamwork. Your continued wonderful teamwork through the years and with the PP&O team means a heck of a lot to us. So thanks, Leanne. And finally, Major Matt Esposito from PP&O, who is doing a lot of the behind-the-scenes work this evening to pull this off. Thank you as well, and again for your teamwork with the MCAF team. You know, earlier today we held the semi-annual ground board with all of our division commanders and MARSOC commander, Major General Roger Turner from 1st Marine Division. I just asked the commanders if they would, commanding generals, if they would stand up, please. General Turner. Major General Frank Donovan from 2nd Marine Division, Unfortunately, Major General Chip Bierman from 3rd Marine Division couldn't make it here this evening from Okinawa due to COVID restrictions, but we managed to keep him up into the early hours of his day anyway, and his Friday. And then Major General Mike Fahey from 4th Marine Division, and our Marine Corps Special Operations Commander, Major General Jim Glenn. Jim, yeah, thank you, gentlemen. Really appreciate it. That fulsome and I would describe as a very energetic session today simply reinforced to me that the spirit of innovation is alive and well in our ground combat element. And the willingness and frankly the drive to experiment, learn, and adapt quickly during this period of relative peace is resident at all levels of our divisions, and in a word, motivating. As well, General Glenn's continued efforts to align our Marine Corps Special Operations component, both geographically and operationally, with our forward stationed and deployed MAGTF forces, is serving as a true force multiplier for the Commandant's implementation of force design. So Jim, thanks in particular for your efforts in what you're doing with our MARSOC Marines. You know, our ground combat element and our special operations forces could obviously not do this without the unwavering support of our industry partners and our professional association. You have remained steadfast in ensuring your Marines are ready tonight to fight and win in every climb and place. So to all of our industry partners and all those from our professional association, simply thank you from your ground combat element. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my distinct honor to introduce our 38th Commandant, General David H. Berger.
I'm smiling a little bit because while you were talking, sir, I had a flashback of, I don't remember how many years ago, but I was working in PP&O as a brigadier general, and I think it was for this evening, and the deputy commandant, I think, was Lieutenant General Tryon, if I remember right. And at about 4 o'clock maybe in the afternoon, like 1600, I get a call from his office to go down there and see him, so I go down there and see him, and he can't talk. He has laryngitis. So he's supposed to introduce General Amos, the Commandant, who's the speaker that night. And General Amos is the first aviator, so he had this long introduction, and it was really, I'm sure, well-crafted and all. And but he says, you have to introduce General Amos because I can't talk. So at that moment, you're like a lieutenant. You have two choices. Like, you can take the conservative route and take your boss's speech and read it, or you can just go, right? So I just took plan B and got up there, and I started talking about aviators and watches and the Commandant, and then about like 7 minutes into it, General Amos comes running up the stairs and chases me off, literally off the... I had a blast doing it, but you know, he told me later that night, he goes, you might be the shortest one-star general we've ever had. But you got to take those chances, like go on the offense, so I don't ever regret it. It was fun. This is great to be here for this dinner. I think our partners, and I'll call them partners, and that's General Faulkner and the association. I agree with everything General Smith said. Just did a phenomenal job through a lot of hard work, and they took risks, is my point. Because the easiest thing to do would have been to go conservative and cancel all things for a certain amount of time. That would have been probably the safest, easiest way to do it. But you and Lynn, you just didn't do that. You did press through all the challenges. I mean, normally, I would probably make a joke about General Faulkner finding a way to get us out of a tent and into a building. but we're in a tent, which is pretty awesome. And I think he mentioned it. It's sort of, for me, this is sort of like expeditionary advanced space operations, only we're in the middle of Washington, D.C., so I think it's pretty cool. General Smith, thank you for hosting this. Whoever that major is, who is running around here like a chicken with his head cut off, because I know that job, you're right. It's really, this isn't the easy thing to do. It's hard enough when you're in a hotel and everybody is in one room. I can't imagine, get the tent up, get 2 rooms, get all this somehow stitched together. Thank you. If it's okay with you, I thought I would spend a few minutes up front talking about the award winners. Now, here's why I'm going to do that. They're going to be recognized individually in a little bit. And we know, you and I know, because everybody in this room really is a Marine of some form, they represent their whole unit, right? Because one person, as soon as they get up here, they're going to say, it's not about me, it's about the unit. And we know that to be true. I'm going to offer just a few words about the individuals. This is just from my perspective. Major Nolan. I would link him, the closest thing I can think of is to link him to General Lejeune. Here's why. Because General Lejeune talked about the relationship between an officer, the leaders, and his men, right? And then that should be sort of a teacher and a scholar. This major recognized that it's not about him, that actually the unit, the performance of the unit is based on how well I can help leaders do their jobs. So it is the teacher-scholar. I think that philosophy, that approach is really powerful. It's not one you see all the time. And I think as a company commander, what he did in CENTCOM, which I'm very familiar with, pretty amazing. But leading through his leaders in the same way that General Lejeune tries to teach us, I think is powerful. Infantry weapons officer. For those of us who are grunts, the infantry weapons officer is the guru, is the specialist. You cannot get a higher level of expertise in my book. Gunner Shin. Gunner Shin is the expertise, but taking that to a whole nother level intellectually about how can we use, he was in a reconnaissance unit, so how do we use the tools that we have, and what tools don't we have that we need to get to a whole nother place. 1st Reconnaissance Battalion, I think, is a better unit because he was more than just being really good at weapon systems. I think it's pretty powerful. Somehow, he looked at competition and what reconnaissance might do in that sort of operating environment and just went to town. Special Operations Community, which Jim Glynn is here for. I think I don't know, my way of looking at it is they have sort of what I would describe as an outsized impact for the size of their unit. The effect, the impact of what they do, it's outsized. Captain Lunford had an outsized impact at MARSOC. He somehow, in leading in MARSOC, grabbed a hold of both the great power, peer competition part and counterinsurgency, counterterrorism at the same time on a global scale. Pretty amazing, because one or the other would be hard enough. This requires the tactical acumen, but it also requires an incredible amount of leadership. Basically, how do you get a small unit to punch above their weight class? Lastly, I would offer to you that it's not every day that you and I get to meet a staff sergeant that has an impact on a national scale, on a strategic level, in a foreign country. But that's what Staff Sergeant Beckham is all about. He took a distributed force, that kind of notion, how can we spread out and operate, and he led in a way that some people would look at how do we push authorities downhill? How do we push the tools downhill to a lower level where a staff sergeant, where a sergeant can do things that normally a captain or a major we would think of doing? And he did that. Just powerful. So obviously has the military skills, but he pulled authorities, pulled tools, pushed them down, just incredible. And then has a sort of a geopolitical impact, which, again, we don't always expect a staff sergeant or a lieutenant to understand or to execute. He does. Could you join me in just a round of applause for these really? As General Faulkner mentioned, about a year and a half, you all asked me to join you for the evening at the ground dinner, and that was just after I published the planning guidance, the Commandant's planning guidance. And I think we were sort of in the middle of the first part of, okay, how are we going to move forward from that? And I'm pretty sure that in my talk that night, probably some people were uneasy, maybe some sort of heart palpitations about what I was talking about, because I tried to describe where I thought the Marine Corps might want to go. So I'm glad that everybody's still alive and healthy and here, and really I'm happy with where we are on the design of where the Marine Corps has to go. That said, I think we're moving in the right direction. That said, though, I'm also equally confident we cannot take our foot off the gas right now. I am driven internally by a pacing threat that's moving quickly. So the sense of urgency that I feel is not driven by anything internal, it's driven by external. It's driven by a threat that my sense is moving very fast. We cannot take our foot off the gas. And I would say, if you feel comfortable with the pace at which we're changing, then you're not moving fast enough. I think the Marines that we're recognizing here tonight, I think are great role models, though, for the rest of us. This caliber of enlisted and officer Marines is who we ought to retain. Why? Because as we spread out the force, as we distribute the force and has to operate over much greater distances, these Marines that we're sitting with at these tables tonight, they have already demonstrated that they can handle increased responsibilities, increased authorities, use a level of tools that was 2 levels above them. They've already done that, and that's the caliber that we have to re-enlist. That's the caliber we have to keep. But I think we have to, I'm going to talk about people for just a minute. I think we have to change our approach to how we manage and retain Marines. We have to be more flexible as a Corps, as a service. And I think we have to view it through the lens of the individual Marine and their commander and their senior enlisted leaders are right above them. But I think we're making good progress. Right now, different world, but through great ideas from the bottom up, commanders now, they can re-enlist Marines that are in the top tier, top categories, and they don't have to send a package to Quantico to get approved. You can re-enlist a Marine now. A Marine can re-enlist. He doesn't have to wait till the 4th or 5th year, the end of their contract. They can do it they can do it 2-3 years early. This is the kind of flexibility I think we're going to need. We need to allow them, we need to give them a path forward. We need to give them stability in their career, but I think what we've done so far is not nearly enough. And the reason I say that is I think we are losing Marines that we ought to be keeping. And that's because our system is so rigid, so inflexible that they don't see any way to stay in the Marine Corps. They can't pursue their passion and be in uniform. They don't see a way ahead. So what if we could turn it completely around? What if halfway through your career you could change MOSs? What if partway through your career you could leave the battalion that you're in, go, especially if you're in a technical field, leave the unit that you're in, go work at Google or wherever for 3 or 4 years, come back in and go into 3rd Marine Division? What if you could do that? We have to be, I think, that creative if we're going to keep the Marines that we need to keep. I don't know that that's the only answer, but I think we have to stretch our policies now. We need to think really hard, really creatively about how we keep Marines. We got to give them more opportunities. If they see only one path, in other words, that's the way the Marine Corps is, that's the path you have to be on, and only that path, I think we're not going to keep everybody that we need to keep. We have to be really creative going forward. There's a competition for talent. If you're going to organize the small forces that I think we're going to need to do to operate in a really distributed environment, then we need Marines at lower ranks, I think, that have a better understanding of the bigger picture in the way that I tried to describe before. Staff sergeants. Viewing things, they can fight and operate as a staff sergeant, but they can see things through a captain, through a major lens also. I think we have to change some of our structure to accommodate that. Some people have written and talked about maturing the force. Here's my kind of plain view of maturing the force. I think we need whatever grade is appropriate for the decisions that we're going to expect them to make in the future. And I don't know, physics is the limiting factor here. You cannot jam 10 years of experience into a 4-year body. Okay, it's just impossible to do. If we're going to ask them to make those greater decisions, then we're going to need people with greater experience to do that. So I'm not into maturing the force based on an age. We just need the experience. We need the repetitions. We need the good judgment that in a really distributed, in a really spread out environment, I think that's what it's going to call for. If that's true, if they're going to be more mature, if they're going to be more experienced, then I think we have to up our game in terms of education as well. Force design for the Marine Corps, where we're going. At its basic sense, at the very root of it, really is what some people would call a campaign of learning. This is learning that we must do, and we have to do it fast. My horizon is 10 years out. Every week, every month, 10 years out. Kind of a rolling 10-year out horizon. I can help this afternoon where I can, but I think you need me, you need my headlights out that far in advance. Because that's how we're going to position the Marine Corps to make sure that 7, 8 years from now, you have the advantage that you need tactically and operationally. That's my 10-year horizon. And the only thing I know for sure about 10 years out is it's not going to look like what we think it is today. But without any aim point, if we have no aim point other than this is where we are today, let's get better than where we are today, I think we will find ourselves overmatched. And we're not going to do that. We have to be comfortable with what your coaches and mentors and mine too told us about being comfortable with dealing with uncertainty, being comfortable with making decisions when you have 60, 70% of the information you'd like to have. But that is what we must do. And I'm very confident that as Marines, we're trained to adapt to the environment. We're trained to make the adjustments along the way. And the people that we're recognizing here in the room, they're gonna steer us in the right direction. One of the lessons over the past year for us tactically is I believe that it's possible, not sure yet, but it's possible that one major contribution, one major role for the Marine Corps is what I would call reconnaissance and counter-reconnaissance, although it goes by different names. Here's my thinking behind that. I think Marines belong forward. I think we have to operate in close. And I think the reconnaissance part of it, painting the picture for the joint force, for the naval force, painting that picture forward is right in our sweet spot. And no one can do it, no one will do it as well as we do it. It's a natural fit for us. We have to be present every day, every week. We have to be in that competition where we're up close to the threat. I think it's where we belong. And I think only us can do it. I think there'll be a lot more sensors. Of course there will be. They're going to be on both sides a lot more sensors. There's going to be more precision weapons with longer ranges. And as the sensors increase, the range is going to increase of the weapon systems, the accuracy of them is going to increase. It's going to be hard, basically, my point is, just to figure out what is going on in front of us. We should focus on that. Although I'm not downplaying the lethality, But painting that picture forward, it doesn't matter how lethal you are if you can't get a picture of what's in front of you. So I think we're working on the sensors. All that is good in all domains, but I am from undersea to outer space, basically. You and I know in the room that all those sensors are going to be attacked. All of them are going to be degraded. It's going to be a fight for information. We're going to have to fight just to make sense of what's going on in front of us. And this is where people like Dennis Kroll are helping us figure out how do you not just sense, but how do you make sense of that and at a speed where you can act inside an adversary's decision cycle. How do you do that? He's going to help us do that. And I think we have to do that every single day, every week, not just when there's a war or a crisis. I don't think we'll have time to get warmed up. So if we can do that, if we can put our forces all the way forward, if we can pull all that together and fuse it and make sense, all that sort of thing, if we can do all that, then we can deter, I believe. But from my perspective, the successful deterrence hinges on your ability to understand what's in front of you. In other words, you can't just act. You actually have to understand what your adversary is trying to do. You got to look through their lens. You got to understand what's in front of you. I think the long range, precision fires, all that sort of thing, there's a role for that. But here's my view on that. I think Marines don't really care what the firing agency is. I think we get the information quickly. Our sensor to shooter speed is faster than anybody else, and we really don't care what the platform is. But the second part of that, I think there is a group of people who believe that, well, if we just have these fancy, long-range, hypersonic weapons and both sides have them, then that's what you really need for deterrence, and we won't have a war, because we'll just stand off and stare each other down. I don't subscribe to that theory. I understand this adversary. I'm not an expert on it, but I understand it. This is one where if you take a half a step back, they take a half a step forward. In other words, they are happy to do that. So this, we're going to back off and stare each other down with our long-range weapons, plays right into this adversary's game. We cannot do that. Because we'll keep backing up. They'll keep moving forward until we're out of space. And that's not where we want to be. In my sort of simple language, we are that close in force. And this is sort of a flip upside down, but in my view, this is where we Marines need to bring what I'd call, we need to bring a knife to a gunfight, not the other way around. Usually you hear the other way around, right? Don't bring a knife to a gunfight. I'm saying bring a knife to a gunfight. Why? Because if we're both sitting off here with long-range weapons, who's in close? Who's in close? And I would bet, I don't know, but I would bet somebody at every single table in here has been through a close quarter battle or something like it. It's a rough comparison, but inside an enclosed space, it's not much good to have a sniper rifle with a great scope on it that can hit something at 1,000 yards. You need something smaller when you're inside a tight space. You need a knife. We need to be that force when they pull out their big gun. We're already on their neck with a knife, long before they can look to the scope. We are the knife in a gunfight. I don't think we can contain every brewing conflict. I don't think we can de-escalate everything. But this is where every day, every week, this is why the Marine Corps has got to be forward. Because there will be another crisis. And you have to be in position when that happens. We have to be in close. We have to be painting a picture in front of us. We're going to buy time for the rest of the cavalry to come. That's what we do. We give them space to respond. The surge forces, the forces back there, we'll give them time to get there, to mobilize. We will be forward. This is where we belong. I don't think any of that, I don't think surprises you, I would guess. But there is a ton of hard work in front of us because we got to figure out, obviously, how do we get there. My responsibility, the service chief responsibility is to organize, train, equip the force. That's what I do. For a combatant commander, that's our job. But also provide best military advice as a Joint Chief to the Secretary of Defense, to the President. And if all that we talk about is how we're going to equip the force, the gear, then I think 2/3 of my man, train, and equip job we haven't spoken about. We have to reorganize ourselves, and we have to change the equation, and we have to have a capability on the field within 2 years, I'm convinced, at the speed at which our adversary is moving. The Marine Littoral Regiment, I think, is sort of the base unit for that competition. I think the MEFs, the divisions, the wings, the MLG, all support the MLR. The ground combat element is the centerpiece. But I think we also have to look at how we're organizing, how we're training, how we're employing the MUs themselves. This is the crown jewel of the Marine Corps. Still is. Not a combatant commander that doesn't know exactly where every MU is. We have to update that. We have to bring it into the future from where it is right now. Training. Training is my focus for the past 8-10 months. It'll be my focus for the next 2 years. Training and education, manpower. Because I'm convinced that we can have the best design possible, but if we don't change the way that we man units and we don't change the way that we train, it's not going to matter what design we come up with. So my focus now is on those 2 areas. We're going to expect more from Marines. We have to provide them the training in order to push the authorities down. All that means we got to bring the education up. This is where I think the training that's happening right now is awesome. This is force on force that General Turner and other people know the value of firsthand. This is against a thinking adversary. This is what we have to do in training. Aviators know this intuitively. But on the ground side, we've been slow to come there. I think we got to move a lot quicker. But I look at places like right now, the infantry Marine courses, Sergeant Major and I were talking about last couple of weeks. I think this is right in the direction we got to go. It's not just the length of that, it's what we're expecting the graduates of that to be able to do. So that we deliver to the division commanders that are here, not the basic level trained with only one skill. We need to deliver them somebody who knows all weapon systems, can navigate, can communicate, because now, then, this OPSO can take that product and go to another level in unit training. He doesn't have to start from ground zero. I don't think there'll be time, in other words, to bring in specialists. I don't think there'll be time to go back to square one on individual training. The infantry graduate of the future got to be proficient on all weapon systems in the infantry unit. If a mission requires, in other words, machine guns, it doesn't matter your MOS. That's where we got to go. Mortars doesn't matter. We have to give them a capability, these division commanders, that we're not giving them yet. But we're on the right path. I think we're on the right path. The force-on-force training, I think, is as much up here as anything else, right? It's up here. This isn't modeling and simulation against a stagnant, stale adversary or looking for a school book solution. This is actually fighting, thinking against somebody on the move. There is no school book solution. This is real world. This is as close as we can come. There is no yellow like the basic school might think of. It's not there. So I think how we craft that in training, how do we set that up? How do we provide the division commanders and their commanders the tools to do that? That's our homework assignment. Based on actual warfighting processes, actual warfighting scenarios. That's what we got to do. And I think, like General Turner was telling me, from everything from the individual infantry squad, battalion, all the way through MWX, that's how we're going to train them. That's how we're going to evaluate them. It's competition. It's fighting within your unit before you have to go outside and do it. That's how we're going to get thinking commanders. I am excited. I think we're on the right path. I think we have a lot to learn. I think the people in this room, from industry to the veteran Marines who are never they took off the uniform, but they didn't take off all of it. They are committed to helping us. If we just listen, those of us senior enough, just listen, we'll be driven. My job is to get you the resources and to listen. So this week, thank you for, I think in a week or two, General Smith and I are going to sit down and he's going to give me the dump on where you all want to go. My job is to get you the tools to get there. So I thank everybody in the room for what you're doing. I'm thanking you in advance for all you're going to do for us to keep this machine moving. And if you're comfortable, then we're not going fast enough. We have to move quickly. But thanks very much for giving me the opportunity this evening. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ground Awards ceremony, where we will recognize the superb performance of Marines from the 4 Marine Divisions and Marine Corps Forces Special Operations Command. We'd also like to recognize the very special contributions and dedication of our award recipients' families and families of all our Marines. For without their support, the exemplary performance of their Marines would not have been possible. So if you would please, may I have the friends and families of our award winners here tonight please stand. Would you all join me in a round of applause? If I may ask the Commandant and Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps to join me on stage for the presentation of awards.
Sergeant Major, do you see anything common here? He might go somewhere.
You might make it, sir.
We'll begin the awards ceremony this evening by recognizing the 2020 Marine of the Year from each of our 4 Marine divisions. The first Marine of the Year award this evening comes from the 1st Marine Division. If I may ask, Colonel Phil Skuda, United States Marine Corps retired, Director, United States Marine Corps and Navy, General Dynamics Land Systems, which sponsors this award, to please join us on stage. General Dynamics Land Systems is a global leader and innovator in the design, development, production, support, and enhancement of combat capability solutions. The 1st Marine Division Marine of the Year is Sergeant Nolan P. McShane. Sergeant McShane currently serves as 1st Platoon Sergeant and Company Master Gunner, Company C, 1st Light Armored Reconnaissance Battalion, 1st Marine Division. The billet of Master Gunner is the most demanding billet to hold in a Light Armored Reconnaissance company, yet he completed the course as the honor graduate. Sergeant McShane has excelled by all metrics, providing empathetic mentorship and unwavering commitment to his Marines. His leadership abilities have far surpassed his rank and billet. His recognition as the 1st Marine Division Marine of the Year is well deserved. Sergeant McShane is joined this evening by his father Michael and mother Lisa. Our next Marine of the Year award comes from the 2nd Marine Division. If I may ask, Lieutenant Colonel United States Marine Corps retired, Program Manager, Amphibious Combat Vehicles, Combat Mission Systems for BAD Systems, which sponsors this award, to please join us on stage. BAD Systems' wide-ranging products and services cover air, land, and naval forces, as well as advanced electronics, security, information technology, and support services. The 2nd Marine Division Marine of the Year a billet which is normally held by sergeants and staff sergeants. Because of his maturity, initiative, and exemplary attention to detail, his willingness to put the mission above himself has been nothing less than admirable, and easily merits his recognition as the 2nd Marine Division Marine of the Year. Corporal Ibrahim is joined tonight by his then team leader, Staff Sergeant AA. Our next Marine of the Year award comes from the 3rd Marine Division. If I may ask Mr. Shane Todd, Principal, Business Development for Communication Systems for L3 Harris, which sponsors this award, to please join us on stage. Harris provides mission-critical solutions to connect, inform, and protect the world. The 3rd Marine Division Marine of the Year is Staff Sergeant Kevin P. Harris. Staff Sergeant Harris served as squad leader, 1st Battalion, 3rd Marines, 3rd Marine Division, from January to December 2020. He performed his duties in an exemplary and highly professional manner, resulting in his selection as the 3rd Marine Division's 2020 Non-Commissioned Officer of the Year. He demonstrated uncommon tactical proficiency for his rank and experience while leading his platoon throughout the conduct of 3 company live-fire ranges, a company raid, and a platoon live-fire attack. Staff Sergeant Harris stands out amongst his peers and is well-deserving of recognition as the 3rd Marine Division Marine of the Year. Staff Sergeant Harris is joined this evening by his brother, Brian. Our final Marine of the Year award this evening is from the 4th Marine Division. If I may ask, Master Gunnery Sergeant John Hernandez, United States Marine Corps retired, Common Director, Ground Combat Equipment, Common and Company Incorporated, to please join us on stage. Common and Company Incorporated delivers program acquisition and logistics management informed by innovative business analytics services to the Marine Corps and Navy clients throughout the world. The 4th Marine Division Marine of the Year is Sergeant Nathaniel L. McCracken. Sergeant McCracken served as team leader, Company C, 4th Reconnaissance Battalion. He led and trained his Marines in complicated, high-risk training to such an unequivocal standard that his command soon recognized him as the best team leader in the company and relied on him for the most demanding training evolutions. Sergeant McCracken's unwavering professionalism, commitment to excellence, superb work ethic, and willingness to put the mission above self has been admirable and merit his recognition as the 4th Marine Division of the Year. Sergeant McCracken is joined this evening by his sister Sharon. Our next award is the Colonel Justice Marion Jumping Joe Chambers Leadership Award. If I may ask, Colonel Eric Mel Mellinger, United States Marine Corps retired, of Mantech, which sponsors this award, to please join us on stage. Mantech provides an integration and solutions development in support of national security objectives across the defense, federal government, and intelligence agencies. This award is presented annually to the Reserve Company Grade Officer within the 4th Marine Division or 4th Marine Logistics Group who best demonstrates the outstanding leadership qualities exemplified by Colonel Chambers. Training, Major Green established the Battalion Forward Operating Base, acting as the Camp Commandant. He then took charge of Company A, where he led his company through live-fire day and night ranges, culminating in squad attacks. He quickly led his company to produce the best day and night squad attacks in the battalion. Major Green's impact on 2 companies and the battalion are why he has been put forth for such an honor, as he embodies the characteristics expected of the recipient of the Colonel Justice Marion Jumping Joe Chambers Award. Major Green is joined this evening by his wife, Corey. Our next award of the night is the Marine Special Operations Command, Sergeant Clyde A. Thomason, Marine Special Operator of the Year. It is presented annually to a Marine serving on active duty as a critical skills operator who best demonstrates the outstanding leadership qualities exemplified by Sergeant Thomason. If I may ask, Lieutenant General. This award is presented annually to the Marine gunner who best exemplifies the qualities of tactical and technical competence and leadership displayed by Gunner Holbert. If I may ask Mr. Gary Goodwin, President of NAMO Defense Systems, which sponsors this award, to please join us on stage. NAMO is an aerospace and defense group specialized in production of ammunition, rocket motors, and space applications. Henry Holbert enlisted in the Marine Corps at the age of 31 in 1898. During a clash with natives in Samoa in 1899, he held off attackers as a member of his small rear guard, enabling wounded men and civilians to reach safety. For his actions, he was awarded the Medal of Honor. In 1917, Sergeant Major Holbert appeared before an examining board and became the first Marine to don the bursting bomb insignia of a Marine gunner. Then 50 years old, he pressed his commanders to be assigned to service in a combat unit and finally won the approval of the Commandant, sailing for France with the 5th Marine Regiment. He served in numerous actions with the regiment, including Bellawood, and was cited often for acts of bravery. On October 4th, 1918, while reorganizing his unit for a counterattack, Gunner Holbert was killed by enemy fire. In addition to the Medal of Honor, his personal awards include the Distinguished Service Cross, the Navy Cross, awarded posthumously, multiple awards of the Purple Heart, and the French Krieger with the Palm. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's recipient of the Holbert Trophy for outstanding leadership is Chief Warrant Officer 3, Marine Gunner Samuel O. Shin. Gunner Shin served as the battalion gunner for 1st Reconnaissance Battalion, 1st Marine Division. He is the epitome of an officer and leader of Marines. By immersing himself in future operating concepts and the Commandant's planning guidance, he developed operational concepts of employment for the reconnaissance enterprise. He is committed to extending the operational reach of the commander. Having the trust of the commanding officer, company commanders, and the primary staff officers enabled him to demonstrate the importance of multiple emerging systems. His exceptional performance and diligence make him a standout gunner in the Marine Corps, and he exemplifies the standard Gunner Holbert set. Gunner Shin is joined tonight by his commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Armas. Our final award this evening is the presentation of the Leftwich Trophy for Outstanding Leadership. The Leftwich Trophy for Outstanding Leadership is presented annually in memory of Lieutenant Colonel William Broom Leftwich, Jr., United States Marine Corps. Eligible nominees are Marine captains in ground combat arms serving on active duty as a company or battery commander. Lieutenant Colonel Leftwich was commissioned a Marine Second Lieutenant in 1953 upon graduation from the United States Naval Academy. He first reported for duty in Vietnam in January 1965 as an Assistant Senior Advisor to the Vietnamese Marine Brigade. Lieutenant Colonel Leftwich participated in 27 major operations against the Viet Cong in the Central Highlands and was wounded in March of 1965. In addition to receiving the Purple Heart, he was awarded the Navy Cross for extraordinary heroism. On November 18, 1970, while serving as the commanding officer of 1st Reconnaissance Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Leftwich served as senior extract officer, as he insisted on personally accompanying every emergency extraction requested by his reconnaissance teams. One team had incurred casualties and requested an emergency extraction from enemy-infested territory, complicated by a dense fog enveloping the area. The team was extracted under Lieutenant Colonel Leftwich's personal supervision. But as the helicopter began its ascent, it crashed into a mountainside, killing all aboard. In addition to the Navy Cross, his personal awards include the Silver Star, awarded posthumously, the Legion of Merit with Combat V and 2 gold stars, the Meritorious Service Medal, the Air Medal with 1 gold star, the Purple Heart with 2 gold stars, and various personal awards from the Republic of Vietnam. His selfless and determined, lead from the front by personal example leadership style still impacts those who knew and served with him to this day, and was the inspiration for his being the namesake for this award for outstanding leadership. The recipient of this year's Leftwich Trophy for outstanding leadership is Major Michael H. Nolan. Major Nolan is described as an exemplary leader of Marines, as the commanding officer of Company G, 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines. Embodying leadership by example, he relentlessly led and inspired his men through an arduous pre-deployment training program, including extreme weather and terrain of Mountain Exercise 4 TAC 19 in Bridgeport, California, and integrated training exercise 2 TAC 20 in the high desert of 29 Palms. As a company commander with Special Purpose MAGTAF, Air Ground Task Force, Crisis Response, Central Command, from May 2019 to October 2020, he deployed his force twice in support of tactical recovery of aircraft and personnel exercises, both day and night, to islands off the coast of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This reassured higher headquarters throughout the region of the competence and reliability of the Crisis Response Force to respond to dynamic and time-sensitive missions. In support of Operation Inherent Resolve and in preparation for a pending named operation in Syria, he executed reconnaissance, developed a plan for deployment, and prepared to deploy elements of Company G into 4 locations throughout Syria. The architect of a fighter leader, he is a competent, confident Marine Corps infantry officer who sets the example in all his actions. He is a trusted leader who embodies the traits of Lieutenant Colonel Leftwich. Major Nolan is joined this evening by his wife Jessica and First Sergeant Campbell. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant General Faulkner.
Okay, that was pretty powerful, you know, ladies and gentlemen. Another round of applause, please, for not only our award recipients, but you know, it's really special to have so many of their family members here. Please, another round of applause. So a couple final thank yous, and then we'll send you on your way. Speaking of family, you know, we're streaming this tonight, so obviously all the family could not be here. We're still under restraints or constraints as it relates to social gathering and how many people we can have here. So we have a lot of people watching at home, a lot of family members, to include Major Nolan, 2 of his and Jessica's 4 kids. So watching Dad receive the Leftwich trophy were Patrick and Annie here a minute ago. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? It's really neat. Hey, a couple final thank yous. Thanks to our Commandant and our Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps for your leadership and your vision, taking the Marine Corps forward. You know, we're in great hands, and we're motivated that our Commandant is out front. He's a visionary. He sees where we need to go as a Corps, and I would argue where the Joint Force needs to go. And Commandant, thank you for your words of wisdom and for being here, for your continued support, sir. For the leadership that's here. You know, it trickles down, and we're in great shape there as well. For all our award sponsors, both industry that sponsored our 9 awards tonight, as well as all 40 of you that are represented, we want to thank you for continuing to support Marines and being part of the solution going forward. All this innovation at the Commandant going forward, your fingerprints are on it as well. And I think I speak for the Commandant where I say we couldn't do it. The Marine Corps could not do it without you. A couple final thank yous, really to all of you. Look, thanks for your flexibility tonight, right? We got you moving from dining room to dining room. You're agile, you're flexible, just like our Corps. And thanks for working with us. You know, this is important. We're going to get back to some level of normalcy soon. And then finally, to our team. You know, we have 7 of us, 8 of us here tonight doing this, and we love what we're doing, and we're very proud of it. It's an honor to be part of recognizing Marines, folks like our Chief Operating Officer, retired Colonel Dan O'Brien. So thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, 22 July, put it on your dance card. That's the Logistics Awards dinner. So please be there. If you haven't been on our website lately, take a look. It's pretty motivating what we have on there as it relates to professional development. Whether it's podcasts, whether it's war games, all these resources that the Commandant talked about earlier, trying to be part of the solution, taking these Marines forward. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again. Drive safely going home. Semper Fidelis, and God bless you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you leave the parking lot, the gate is up. As you leave your parking lot going out of the building here, the gate is up, so you don't have to worry about paying for anything. Just go.